Alright, I don't know what's happening with stream, but it went down, but it's back up. Hear even the crickets, for it seemed that everything had gone completely silent. What? Her voice cracked and she stopped. She swallowed hard and tried again. What are the hidden branches? Ceremancy and necromancy, said Zane. Life and death. Lauren frowned. Those are not magic. They are... Well, they simply are. So I, too, thought, said Zane. Yet in Wellmont I spoke with Jordell for nearly a day, and he taught me the truth of things. Life magic and death magic are the source of all the other branches. They are the essence of power itself. My power, the power of all wizards, the power of mage stones. All are interlinked, forever entwined with the two hidden branches. But there are no life wizards and death wizards, Lauren said, irritated. Surely we would have known of them if there were. You were the first wizard I had met, Zane, but I had heard tales aplenty before then. 4 branches I was told of, not 6, and nothing of 2 hidden branches. I was told of, not 6, and nothing of 2 hidden branches. That was by careful design, said Zane. And you are wrong. There are life wizards and death wizards, or rather there is one of each. The necromancer, master of death, and the ceremancer, though that one is more often called the life mage. Only one, said Lauren, more confused than ever. Excuse me. Only one, said Lauren, more confused than ever. Why, when there are a great many of the other kinds of wizards? Because they are the source, said Zane. They were the first, and from them sprang all the other lesser powers. And though the first necromancer and the first life mage died long, long ago, they were reborn. Again and again they returned, in later times and places, in new bodies, but always together, and always with the same powers, life and death, returning to wage their great and endless war for the fate of all men. I have heard tales of great warriors, wizards, and kings, said Lauren, and thieves as well, yet never have I heard of either a life mage or a necromancer. Many centuries has it been since they last lived in the 9 lands, said Zane softly. And in such times, the in-between times, the mystics hide all knowledge of them. Every record is expunged, every tale snuffed out. They wish for no one to know of the necromancer, for then followers might take root and gather in strength in preparation of his coming. Followers might take root and gather in strength in preparation of his coming. Lauren felt she understood at last. The shades, they serve the necromancer. Do the mystics then serve the life mage? That is their true purpose, but they have forgotten, all but the highest and greatest among them, who guard the secret as carefully as the existence of the necromancer. To know of one is to know of the other. They fell to silence, and for a while the only sound was a light wind rustling the grass about them. Zane shivered and pulled his dirty gray cloak tighter. The weather struck him harder, as thin as he was. As she began to digest his words, a thought came to Lauren that made her heart skip a beat. Then, if the shades are gathering in strength, does that mean the necromancer is reborn? Does that mean... He began to digest his words. A thought came to Lauren that made her heart skip a beat. Then if the shades are gathering in strength, does that mean the necromancer is reborn? That is what Jordell guessed, said Zane. He picked at the cuff of his sleeve. "And while they grow in power, the mystics do nothing to stop them," said Lauren, stomach sinking. "Because they know nothing. Only Jordale discovered the truth, and he died in the Great Rocks. And now I have made us sit here and wait in a faraway city, when we should have been warning all the kingdoms." Zane looked away. "You can hardly be blamed," he said, though his voice was gruff. We all keenly felt his loss. "I should not have let that stop me. Jordale would not have." She brushed the fingers of one hand across the battered knuckles of the other. Almost she struck at the ground again, but she did not wish to open the wound. "I'm sorry, Zane. I should have listened to you from the start." "I'm sorry, Zane. I should have listened to you from the start." Zane grunted and moved to rise. "I will not argue there. Only see that you remember this in the days to come." Lauren shot to her feet easily and lowered a hand to pull him up. "I will. Clearly you are too weak to do much of anything useful, and have chosen to be wise instead to make up for it." Ugh. "And have chosen to be wise instead to make up for it." He glared sharply up at her, but then the moon's light showed him her smile. A wry twist came to his lips, and he took her hand to rise. Together they strode back for Northwood, and Zane flicked a finger to douse the embers of the fire behind them. And that's it. For some reason I thought that chapter was much longer. I think it used to be. I think I changed it. I think I got one more chapter, and then I gotta go eat. I have not had the food today. Chapter 5. Shadeborn. Chapter 5. Shadeborn. Chapter 5. The next morning the travelers readied themselves to depart. Though they had all seemed happy enough to remain in Northwood, once spurred to action, Lauren thought they seemed relieved to be on the move again. All of them except Chet had spent many weeks riding from one place to another. A rest had been welcome, yet now their feet itched for the road. While Alburn went into town to fetch supplies, Lauren went to the inn's stable to prepare their horses for travel. Chet, for lack of anything better to do, came with her. Midnight gave a great cry the moment Lauren approached, and she smiled to hear it. The horse was wise beyond the custom of beasts. Midnight gave a great cry the moment Lauren approached, and she smiled to hear it. The horse was wise beyond the custom of beasts, and Lauren thought she must know they were preparing to lift her first herd of her. Midnight gave a great cry the moment Lauren approached, and she smiled to hear it. The horse was wise beyond the custom of beasts, and Lauren thought she must know they were preparing to leave. They were preparing. Midnight gave a great cry the moment Lauren approached, and she smiled to hear it. The horse was wise beyond the custom of beasts, and Lauren thought she must know they were preparing to leave. "Still your braying, you nag," said Lauren, but she patted Midnight's nose with affection. "I have kept you waiting only a few days." "Look at the way she nuzzles you," said Chet, looking Midnight over with appreciation. Lauren had told him the tale already of how she had come to steal the horse. "She has taken you for her own, and no mistake." "I took her, you mean," said Lauren. "I took her, you mean," said Lauren. She fetched a brush from the wall and took it to Midnight's coat, though she could see almost at once that the mare needed no grooming. "Though I suspect she thinks differently, I am her master, and not the other way around." She grew quiet for a moment and looked at Chet from the corner of her eyes. She had been meaning to ask him a question for some time. Now it had grown in urgency, but with the moment finally here, she found the words hard to say. "Chet," she said slowly, carefully, "what will you do? Once we leave, I mean." His eyes flew wide. He pushed himself from the wall where he had been leaning and rested a hand on Midnight's flank. "Why, I mean to come with you, of course. Unless my company is not welcome, though I had hoped it would be." Lauren felt a rush of happiness, though she tried to still it. Chet had heard much of their journeys, but not all. Though he no doubt thought he understood his decision, he could not possibly imagine its implications. "Of course you are welcome, always," she said, "and nothing would make me happier than for you to join us. But I would not have you come out of obligation." "But I would not have you come out of obligation." "It was not obligation that made me leave the birchwood," said Chet quickly. "I wanted to follow you. How often did we wish to leave the forest behind when we were younger? How many lands did we see in our dreams, day after day, longing only to walk their roads with our own feet? Yet in all my daydreams I never foresaw the peril that has plagued me since I left," said Lauren. "And though I would like nothing more than your company, I am loath to bring that peril upon you, and you unaware of it. Dark things hound our steps, Chet, darker even than I have known." He paused, his hand scratching Midnight's side idly. "Things the wizard told you of? Is that why you make ready to go with such haste? Are you sure you can even trust his words? Mayhap your fear is misplaced." "It is not," said Lauren. "If what lies ahead is half so terrible as what I have left behind me, it will be a road far more perilous than any you have traveled to get here. I will walk that road with you, but only if both your eyes are open." "I will walk that road with you, but only if both your eyes are open." "They are," he said, shrugging. "I can handle myself in a fight and have learned to ride a horse. What else would I do except take the road beside you, traveling as we always meant to? This is not some fanciful journey. You must not come with me if you think so." Chet smiled. "You have told me of the danger, Lauren. That is enough. I still mean to come, unless you wish to lock me in these stables or tie me to the trunk of some tree." She gave a lingering sigh. "Very well. We will take you into our company, and happily on my part." "We will take you into our of some tree." She gave a lingering sigh. "Very well. We will take you into our company, and happily on my part. But know that if you ever wish to turn aside and go your own way, no one will think less of you, and we shall have to find you a horse, unless you wish to be tied across the back of Midnight's saddle." After readying Midnight and the other steeds to ride, they went back to the inn to see about a horse for Chet. There they found Mag already busy in the common room, her well-muscled arms glistening with sweat as she bussed trays back and forth from tables to kitchen. But she stopped at once when she saw they sought her attention and came to speak with them at the bar. "We need a horse for Chet," said Lauren. "Do you know where we might find one from an honest seller who will not give us some beast with a cracked hoof?" "Give us some beast with a cracked hoof?" "Might find one from an honest seller who will not give us some beast with a cracked hoof?" "Why, beneath this very roof," said Mag. "Sten! Sten! "Why, beneath this very roof," said Mag. "Sten!" Her roar was sudden and sharp, as could often be her custom. It always made Lauren jump a little. Her husband came hastily out of the kitchen, wiping flour from his great arms with a greased rag, his bushy eyebrows drawn together and his wide mouth muttering darkly. "I don't remember what Sten sounds like."
Rumors? Some Dortian border squabble? Who understands Dortians? My wife.
That's right. "Sky above, Mag, how many times have I told you not to bray after me like some donkey?" His bushy eyebrows drawn together and his wide mouth muttering darkly. "Sky above, Mag, how many times have I told you not to bray after me like some donkey?" "And how many times have I told you how I love my little ass?" "Donkey? And how many times have I told you how I love my little ass?" said Mag, though she stood a full hand shorter than he did. "See to the common room, will you? These two need a horse." "The chestnut from that southern man?" said Sten. "The same. And one last thing." She seized the front of his collar and pulled him down for a quick kiss. But when she tried to pull away, Sten wrapped his arms around her and lifted her from her feet, burrowing his thick beard into her neck. Lauren and Chet looked away, shifting their feet. Mag squealed like a little girl, but gave him a sharp chop in the ribs at the same time. Sten groaned and dropped her like a heavy sack. "The customers!" she snapped, though she could not hide her smile. "I will be only a moment." Mag led them back to the stables. It held more than a dozen stalls, and most were full, 4 of them with the beasts Lauren and her friends had brought. Near the back was a huge chestnut with a flowing golden mane. Lauren had seen it as she came in and out. With a flowing golden mane. Lauren had seen it as she came in and out. "2 southern men came through here some weeks ago, from Idris or some such," said Mag. "Men came through here some weeks ago, from Idris or some such," said Mag. "They each rode a horse when they arrived, but had to sell one to pay for the rest of their way north. It is a good enough beast, no war horse, but no sway-backed farm animal either." "Why did you buy it?" said Chet. "Do you often go riding?" "An innkeeper buys a horse for sale," said Mag. "A good bit of business, horseflesh. Often the folk who come through my doors need a steed to carry on their journey." "And we will pay you handsomely for it," said Lauren firmly. Mag pursed her lips. "Not handsomely, though I cannot give him away for free. You know I will take no coin for your room and board, but a horse is another matter. 10 gold weights I paid. That is what I will take from you, and not one more. Just passing him on, so to speak. And if we were any other travelers, how much would we pay then? Said Lauren, folding her arms. Other travelers, how much would we pay then? Said Lauren, folding her arms. That I shall keep to myself, if it is all the same to the fish neath the herd of your bird. Other travelers, how much would we pay then? Said Lauren, folding her arms. That I shall keep to myself, if it is all the same to you. It is not, said Lauren, but so be it. 10 gold weights, as you say. After grasping wrists to seal the pact, Mag returned to Sten in the common room, while Lauren went to their room upstairs. She took from her coin purse 10 gold weights and dropped them in a spare purse. After a moment's thought, she added 5 more. She did not know if it was a fair price. If anything, it seemed somewhat high. But the extra could pay for their food and rooms, for Mag had been far too generous. It left her purse somewhat lighter than she liked, but she would have to worry about that later. As long as they had enough to reach Jordel's brethren in Feldemar, that was all that mattered. As long as they had enough to reach Jordel's brethren in Feldemar, that was all that mattered. With Chet still by her side, she went back to the common room where Mag stood speaking with a customer. She threw the spare coin purse to Mag, who scarcely looked up as she caught it with a deft hand and carried on speaking. She did not open it to look inside. Satisfied, Lauren went to her usual table in the corner, where Albern, Zane, and the children were already tucking in for lunch. "I've fetched as many provisions as I thought the horses could carry," said Albern as they sat down. "It should see you at least halfway through Dorsey, though you shall need to stop for more supplies at some point." "We will stop as rarely as we can afford," said Zane. "The fewer people who mass our... Mark. At some point. We will stop as rarely as we can afford," said Zane. "The fewer people... Nope. Some point. We will stop as rarely as we can afford," said Zane. "The fewer people who Mark. Bodegazilla. You'll never get me Plucky Charms. "Rarely as we can afford," said Zane. "The fewer people who mark our passing, the better." "Once you are deep into Dorsey, I think the danger shall lessen," said Albern. "In the south their kingdom is preoccupied with the war, and in the north they remain as untroubled... Once you are deep into Dorsey... I think the danger shall lessen," said Albern. "In the south their kingdom is preoccupied with the war, and in the north they remain as untroubled as ever at the goings-on of the 9 lands." "Who is that man there?" asked Jem. Something about the boy's tone raised the hairs on the back of Lauren's neck. She looked over her shoulder to see Mag talking to someone new, a thin man with a hooked nose and spindly fingers, whose head darted about constantly as he spoke. He was altogether different from the simple folk she had grown accustomed to in Northwood, and it set her nerves on edge. They all watched him for a moment, until Mag looked up from the conversation and caught Albern's eye. She tossed her head at him, and wordlessly Albern rose to approach her. Lauren quickly found her feet and went with him, but when Chet too started to rise, she waved him back into his seat. Mag wore a dark look as they reached her. "Len, tell them." The thin man pinched his nose and sniffed. I don't remember what Len smells like. I don't remember what he smells like either, but I don't remember what he sounds like. How are we doing today, Bodegazilla? Shit. How did I not save his fucking voice?
Chapter 4. Alburn cocked his head. Do you know why? Of an answer that would forestall any more of Mag's questions. You have been telling them of the Great Rocks, he asked me. The farms well tended, though gave her the strength she needed to let go. I could have done no differently, said Nyan. It was my duty. And doing one's duty is worthy of the highest honor. Chapter 7. At the door, she gripped her sword in both hands, holding it ready to swing. All was silent for a long moment. Then the window behind Janu exploded inwards, showering the... Deserving has nothing to do with it. A silly notion if ever I have heard one. Chapter 9. Mag, Lauren, and I... Chapter 9. Mag, Lauren, and I ran back to the inn as fast as... Chapter 8. Say that to anyone, oaf. I slapped his broad arm. But I would welcome your aid. One of us should help, said Black Cloak as one of her hallmarks. There was no doubt in our minds. This man, whoever he was, sought Lauren, and I could think of no innocent reason why a stranger would come seeking for her here in Northwood. Len read the reaction in our expressions. Aye, that is what I thought when I heard, he said. Black cloak and remarkable green eyes.
Okay. Len, tell them. The thin man pinched his nose and sniffed. There is a man. He is wandering about the city, searching for a girl in a black cloak. Erica, greetings. There is a man. He is wandering about the city, searching for a girl in a black cloak. Lauren felt the blood drain from her face. Alburn's mouth set in a grim line. The thin man nodded, pinching his nose and sniffing again. Aye, that is what I thought when I heard, he said, though Lauren had said nothing. Black cloak and remarkable green eyes he asked for. Used that word, remarkable. Calls himself Rogan, which sounds foreign to me. He is dark of skin, like the girl with you, though from their looks I would not call them kin. Big. He carried no weapons, but he felt like one, if you follow me. When I heard him asking around, I thought to myself that I seen eyes just like that, and a black cloak as well, here in your place, Mag. I seen eyes just like that, and a black cloak as well, here in your place, Mag. Our thanks, Len. Drink up, and tell Sten it is my gift. He sidled off, and Mag fixed them with a hard look. Is this Rogan some friend of yours? I do not know that name, said Lauren. We should have left long ago. Stay your concern, at least for the moment, said Alburn. We know nothing for certain. Mayhap there is cause for fear, but mayhap this Rogan is some friend to Jordell. He said nothing of a red cloak. Hist! Albern glanced over his shoulder. Speak not so openly of our fallen friend's order where others may hear. And if this Rogan is one of them, and he sought us in secret, do you think he would show himself so openly? We should go and see after him, and mayhap find our answers, said Lauren. Considering going to L.A. Con as in getting a table to showcase my wares. Khajiit has wares, if you have coin. Could be cool. Could be fun, Erica. I don't know anything about L.A. Con specifically. I know that some cons are worthier than others. We should go and see after him. And mayhap find our answers, said Lauren. I think the same. I shall come, said Mag. Len is the good sort, but his nerves can get the better of him. I may recognize the man's face where Len could not. Lauren ran quickly to put her black cloak away upstairs and fetch her dirty brown spare. When she returned, Chet again rose to go with her. Stay, she said. Albern and I have something to look into. It will not take long, and too many at once may draw attention. Is it some trouble? Said Zane sharply. It may be, or it may be nothing, said Lauren. Rest assured we will return in safety. Wait, but mayhap ready the horses, just in case. You know, if it's something that you can afford without too much trouble, Erica, I would say do it. It's a really good experience. And at the con, even if the con itself isn't that great, you're going to meet a lot of cool people who are going to be like, my favorite con is this one. And then you bookmark that one and maybe you consider going to that one. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go like, I wouldn't necessarily spend a bunch of money thinking, oh, well, I'll earn that back, because you might not. And, you know. Okay, now going halvesies on a table with Antoine sounds like the best thing ever, and I would totally do that if I were you. In case. Safety. Wait, but mayhap ready the horses, just in case. She returned to the bar, where Albern still waited for her. Sten, too, was there, and through his beard Lauren could see his frown of concern. Not long at all, Mag was saying. Do not trouble your... Nope. See his frown of concern. Could see his frown of concern. Not long at all, Mag was saying. Do not trouble your ugly little head over it. And then what does Sten sound like again?
Rumors. Some Dortian border squabble.
When have you ever given me cause for concern? Not long at all, Mag was saying. Do not trouble your ugly little head over it. When have you ever given me cause for concern? I fear only for anyone who may think to tussle with you, said Sten, but the creases in his forehead deepened. Mag placed a hand on his arm and stood on tiptoe to kiss his cheek. See to the customers, get those layabout children to help if you need them. He let her leave him then, with no more than a long squeeze of her hand to see her off. Okay, that is going to be it for this stream. I need food so badly. That one took me longer than I would have liked because I had to look up so many voices. I'm going to toss a host to somebody else, and then I will come back for another stream this afternoon. But I need food, and I need it now. $25 per book is a lot. I sell my paperbacks at $12. And that's like, those are like kind of industry rates, right? It kind of sucks, but like, sorry. I'll stick around for a second and give some more answers. Oh, 25 books to bring with you? Kind of depends. Depends on the con. Like, if you were going to Emerald City Comic Con, I would say no. If you were going to Rose City Comic Con, I would say yes. LA Con, I have no idea. It's probably pretty big. All right. I am peacing out, and I will be back on again this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, Erica, and Eric as well, who stopped by earlier, and hope to see you next time. Recording an audiobook on stream is actually kind of fun, now that I've gotten over my own stuff that was keeping me from wanting to do it. But, yeah. Oh, God, I want this stupid commercial to be over. All right, there we go. Raid incoming. Bye.